Welcome back. Congressional leaders are negotiating a continuing resolution to avert a government shutdown ahead of Friday's deadline. Sources telling Fox News that lawmakers will likely get to see the text of that bill today. It was delayed yesterday over an impasse over agricultural provisions. Meanwhile, the House Freedom Caucus is throwing its weight behind a two-part reconciliation plan, which we've been reporting on for the last few weeks. They want a fully offset border security package moving first, meaning they want the border money, and then they want to see cuts, spending cuts to offset that money, followed by a larger bill covering taxes, energy spending, and more later on in the year. House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Jason Smith and Utah Senator Mike Lee joined me yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures to discuss these reconciliation strategies. Watch.
I believe that the one package is the quickest and best approach to deliver these victories for the American people. There has not been two reconciliation bills that have been signed into law in the same year since 1997, when Newt Gingrich was Speaker, and they had a much larger margin.
Well, look, we do plan to get to the extension of the tax cuts. And so the thought is we can do two in a year, but the first one involving securing additional funding for border security, possibly some defense spending, while simultaneously providing what are called pay-fors, offsets to any spending, will also be in the package.
Joining me now is former Speaker of the House, former Georgia Congressman and Fox News contributor, and the author of March to the Majority, Newt Gingrich, back with us. Speaker, great to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Well, it's good to be with you, and Jason was right. We passed two reconciliation bills in 1997. They can do that this year, but here's the point I would drive home. They need to have the Senate commitment to pass the tax bill by May 31st. To go to conference in June and to sign the bill by July 4th. Reagan talked into having his tax cuts arrive late. We lost 26 seats in 1982. Similarly, President Trump was talked into taking up a bunch of other stuff, didn't get his tax bill until late. They lost 40 seats in 2018. Keeping the House is the biggest single challenge for the Trump administration, because a Republican House in the last 2 years versus a Democratic House is night and day in terms of the Trump revolution continuing its momentum. So if you work back from keeping the House, you have to have the tax cut bill and the deregulation bill signed into law by the 4th of July, so it's affecting the economy so well and so powerfully that people are really happy in 2026, and the Republicans gain seats as Franklin Roosevelt did in 1934. Well, I'm perfectly happy to have a two-step if the Senate, let me be clear, Maria, if the Senate will commit that they're going to pass the tax bill in May and not have it drag out into the fall. If it drags into the fall, it will be a disaster for President Trump and a disaster for the House Republicans.
And that's why we're having this conversation. The fact is the whole idea to have two reconciliation packages is risky, right? I mean, you know, you're saying the second one has to be done by July. How realistic is that?
Well, it's totally realistic if they decide to do it. I mean, what it means is you write the two bills in parallel. The people writing the border bill are on judiciary. The people writing the tax bill are on Ways and Means. You can do two things. And we did this before. And when I was Speaker, we did it. But it means that the Senate can't just dawdle around, bring it up in October, because the Senate doesn't have skin in the game. The Senate's not likely to get lost next year. The House is in real danger of getting lost, and only a really vibrant, dynamic economy will convince people to give the Republicans another chance at power. So I would say that Speaker Johnson and the President have to look Senator Thune in the eye, and frankly, probably have to go to the Senate lunch and look at every Republican senator and say, okay, are you willing to commit that you will get this tax bill done by May 31st? If so, we can go with a two-part strategy. If you're not willing to commit that, I'd insist on all of them being in one bill and moving it. I mean, I think Jason Smith, the chairman of Ways and Means, has a very good argument. Now, I can be flexible. Having been Speaker and having watched all the different sides, I'm flexible if the Senate will make a commitment. And if the president will stay focused on mobilizing the grassroots, that's how Reagan won, as he aroused the grassroots.
What about a gigantic package? Is it too unrealistic to think about a big package which has all of this in it and to get passed in the first 100 days by April 30th? Or is that just unrealistic, Speaker?
Well, I mean, look, I'm told two very contradictory things. I've had people in the Senate tell me that Senate Finance has been working on this bill for a year. Certainly Jason Smith and the Ways and Means Committee in the House have worked on it for a year. So at one level you'd think, lock them in a room on January 3rd and say, don't come out till you guys agree on a bill, and maybe have them write it together. So you're basically getting the same bill in both bodies, modified, of course, by what it takes to get them through. You could imagine doing that. I think what's happened, though, is that the Trump team, I'm not sure about the president, but the Trump team is convinced that they can get a very early win that'll be a big morale booster on the border, that's easy to write, it's not that complicated. The tax bill will inevitably, if it's going to be as big as Trump wants, it's inevitably going to be complicated. They got a brand new Secretary of the Treasury. They're going to get a brand new group of people in the various jobs at Treasury. They're all going to want to have their pinky in writing this thing. So it gets to be a muddle for a little while. Again, having driven this before, and in the 4 years I was Speaker, we drove a lot of stuff. You have to set deadlines. You have to hold people accountable. You can't let them go home on the weekends if they're not getting their job done. But if they will commit to get it all out of the Senate by May 31st, to get it through conference in June, get it signed by July 4th, I'm perfectly happy with a two-track plan. But boy, I would insist on a one-track plan if you can't get the Senate to commit to that.
I mean, Newt, have you spoken with them to give them this context? It's really important, everything you're saying this morning.
Yeah, well, I've talked to various people, but look, I'm just an advisor. I used to be Speaker. I'm not Speaker, and I have to tell you, I have the greatest admiration for Mike Johnson. I couldn't do his job. Yeah. I mean, he has the patience of Job, and he has a one-vote margin. So you have to pay careful attention. Now, the other part of this, Maria, is if you go back and look at Reagan, when they passed the bill with 49 Democratic votes, Tip O'Neill said we had an avalanche of phone calls, because Reagan went on national TV and aroused the Reagan base. If the Trump team will arouse all the different grassroots groups that helped elect him, and all of them pile on to pass the tax bill, I am confident you'll have a bunch of Democrats vote yes, because they won't be able to take the heat back home.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, they don't have the votes on the border, which forces them to do reconciliation even on the border. I mean, that's one of the issues. So I don't know who's going to support any of this on the Democrat side. You have a new op-ed out on foxnews.com, and you write this: a reconciliation bill that cuts taxes and reforms regulations to create jobs with 3 or 4 months of grassroots communications, education, and organization could lead to a substantial number of Democrats deciding they have to support the bill or face certain defeat. You also argue that the potential is here for a positive bipartisanship that reforms the establishment and creates a much more dynamic, safer, and more prosperous America. But, I mean, Newt, I don't know if the Democrats recognize that already. Maybe they need time to see that. I don't know.
No, that's why you need 3 or 4 months of grassroots activism.
Right.
But take the president's proposal to have no tax on tips. Look at Nevada, a state which has a huge population that works for tips. Now, you should be able to organize Nevadans in favor of a tax cut that eliminates taxes on tips, and they should be able to bring enough pressure on the Nevada Democrats that it becomes a matter of survival.
Yeah.
I mean, Reagan got 49 votes for the tax cut from the Democrats. We got, amazingly, on welfare reform, which was the most conservative social reform in your lifetime, we got 101 Democrats yes and 101 no, because the grassroots were so aroused that they just, unless you were a hard left Democrat in a very safe seat, you couldn't vote no. Now, 101 to 101. So my goal would be to probably target 60 Democratic seats and the 30 weakest Republican seats, make sure that the grassroots in those 90 seats were totally organized. And that takes a couple months. But that should happen now. They shouldn't wait until later. They can start organizing the grassroots. They can figure out the key parts that are clearly going to be in the bill, the things that people really want, and they can start marketing and educating right now and organizing. I mean, imagine that you had tip workers of America in favor of the Trump tax cut. How big a grassroots organization could that be?
Yeah. Newt, you make so many great points, and I want to rerun this interview to ensure that everybody sees it